by asking taxpayers to foot the bill for an additional town meeting because someone other than the town has an emergency, I think is very unfair. It actually lessens the integrity of town meeting. The reason why we have a town meeting is to give everybody a chance and an opportunity to vote. People came out and vote. This is a very well-attended town meeting, which is very unusual, especially in the fall when people are busy preparing for the holidays. And then we're asking people to come out, at least 250 people to come out, and 2/3 of them to vote for this. On December 15th, just 10 days before the Christmas holiday. I think that is unfair. I mean, I know the Fox family has perhaps some issues within the family, but that's not the town's problem. Every time we get a vote, a negative vote at town meeting, we can't come back for a special town meeting shortly thereafter. We can't set a precedent for that. I think it's an unnecessary expense, time and effort for the town. We're asking the town hall to prepare for this. This is a very big endeavor for all these people to drop everything and come out and have a town meeting. The taxpayers, the people that work in town hall are taxpayers, the people that help volunteer, they're taxpayers. And they have other things to do at this time of year, like I said. And, you know, I am sorry about the Fox's dilemma. I think it's a wonderful piece of property. There's no urgency in this vote. We even heard that there's a mortgage, it's due in May. But that's not the town's problem. You know, we can do it at the next town meeting when it's properly before us, and maybe have the option of purchasing it, the preservation rights, or purchasing the property outright. We really research it a lot better. I'm all for it, not at this time, however. And I feel very strongly about this, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to vote emphatically against it. I'm going to let you know right now, I cannot vote for a special town meeting for this issue. I'm sorry.
I guess I'll go next because I'm just reading my notes. I got out of the military in 1975 after the Vietnam War, and I moved to Dracut, and I attended my first town meeting. And I think maybe Kathy and people in the town clerk's office can pretty well verify the fact that I don't think I've missed one in 35 years. I go to the town meeting and I sit with the same bunch of people before I was a selectman, my neighbors, my friends. Sometimes we stand, sometimes we sit, sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. But it's the purest and the most simplest form of government, and I think it's a good form of government because it's where you, the taxpayer, and you, the voter, get a chance to come and tell what's on your mind and to vote on what you think is best for this town. I believe that this issue was fully vetted at the last town meeting. I believe that Mr. Dracut, the moderator, did a very good job allowing all of the sides of this issue to come forward, to talk about it, to speak on any matter that concerned them. I believe, and I was in the front row, that there was not a clear 2/3 majority to purchase this property. And I want to make myself perfectly clear. I believe that this is exactly what the CPA fund should be doing. We should be preserving this land. I just don't like the mechanics of the way this is turning out. People talked that night about preserving it. They talked about buying it outright. They talked about public housing. They talked about builders coming to build on this property. They had issues with spending $1 million to walk away with a piece of paper. All of these issues were discussed in full for over an hour. And for those of you that have attended town meetings, that's a long time to talk about one issue. I've heard complaints this week. I've had calls at home that it's typical Dracut. If something happens at the town meeting that you don't like, well, then they just do it over again. My job as a selectman is to vote on issues for you when you don't have the opportunity to vote for yourself on Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday night during the course of the year. But when you have an opportunity to vote the way you want to vote at the 2 town meetings that we have every year, that's your opportunity. And 300 people came out at the last town meeting and took time out of their busy schedules to attend this town meeting, and their vote should count. We've heard some talk, or I've heard some talk about pandering to special interests. As good as your interest and as good as your intentions are, it is a special interest. You're here to preserve land. That's no different than someone coming to advocate for building more businesses, or a builder coming to build more houses. 20 years ago, when I was young and didn't know how town meeting worked, I proposed a slow growth initiative at a town meeting where I had no idea what I was doing, and by the time it was over with, I didn't even know what they voted on. And all I wanted to do was preserve land in this town, and I tried to slow down the amount of building permits that would be issued in the town, and I got every electrician, every plumber, every carpenter. Remember, Kathy, they were boiled over into the cafeteria because they wanted to know why I was trying to kill jobs in this town, when really all I was trying to do was preserve land. I didn't like the way that vote went that night, but I didn't call for another town meeting 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later. What about Walgreens in Collinsville? Don't they have the money to keep coming back every town meeting until they get what they want? Couldn't they do that? They could actually pay people to come to the town meeting and vote for what it is that they want, or any business for that matter.
That's illegal.
My feeling is that, you know, we've heard a lot of talk about this farm being in the community and in the family for 400 years. Why is it an emergency to us now? I think that the family would be better served if they took that $10,000 and hired a mediator so that they could come in at the next town meeting, so that they could say, we have a price that's agreed upon, we want to preserve this land, and I promise you that I will be the first person at the spring town meeting that will stand up and encourage every person I know to buy this property. But I believe that it is my job tonight to protect the integrity of the town meeting, and I will not be voting to go forward for another town meeting. Thank you.
That this town meeting will cost the people the time. It won't cost them the money, all right? We are adamant about this, passionate, and we wanted it to go. So if you do find a vote, the majority vote to go in, it's not going to cost them out of the town coffers for this meeting, all right? It will be paid for. Thank you.
This is very tough because there are this lovely family over here, and I've been writing pros and cons and been going over this for the last week. And, we spoke about it at length at our last selectmen meeting. And yes, this is exactly what the CPA was created to do. Save this beautiful land and keep it a farm and drink it. However, I can't deny the fact that my fellow selectmen do have a point about a precedent and in calling for a special town meeting. It's tough. I understand that you're under a time constraint and you want to help your father through this. And I go back and forth besides what's in the best interest of the family, which is obviously in the best interest of the town, preserving the land, but it's already been done. And for me, it's not black and white. However, the legality of setting a precedent is outweighing, for me, it's not about the money. You guys, we appreciate the fact that you're willing to put up the $10,000, but it comes down to this precedent of having a special town meeting for something that isn't about necessarily an emergency for the town, and that's my internal struggle. I wish it had gone better 3 weeks ago at our November town meeting, but at this point, I don't think it's in the best interest of the town to have a special town meeting in December, and I'm hoping that it comes back